Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here at my next Airspeed Reads Naruto video. This one's going to be for volume 32 of the manga. This one's called The Search for Sasuke. So yeah, pretty interesting cover this time around. Obviously we got Team Inoshika-cho and their new designs. And it's basically our first time seeing them since the kind of return. I think we've seen Shigemaru before in one of the earlier volumes, but I don't think we've seen Choji or Ino yet, so again, pretty nice, more grown up, very fitting. Don't think these three overly fit the kind of content actually covered in this volume. I think Sai would have been better on this one, Yamato, something like that would have been better on it. But it is a nice image, it's going to be interesting when we get to that arc that is more focused on Team Inoshika-cho, if they get the cover there or what. But yeah, so volume 32 we cover another 9 chapters, I believe. Yes, we cover 281 to 289, The Search for Sasuke, Team Kakashi returns, team members wanted, the new cell, the foundation, Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura, Untitled, Feelings, and the Akatsuki Spy. So overall, this review will probably be a little bit different than the other ones. I don't think there's a lot to be gained by just going through it page by page, because fundamentally this volume deals with kind of one thing and the kind of couple of issues that creates, and that's obviously the introduction of Sai into the series and the fact that Kakashi is out of action, so Team Kakashi, to go on this mission, need a new team leader and another person on Sakura and Naruto's level to make up the team fully. And it's about the political issues that lead to who's chosen to make up this team, the political issues in the village about should we or should we not allow Naruto to go on missions anymore because he's a Jinchuriki, and then the team's reaction to Sai obviously being introduced and the start of our mission to obviously deal with, somehow get this connection to Orochimaru through the informant, Sasuke's informant, and get information to get towards Sasuke. So it's a pretty interesting kind of in-between volume in that we cover a lot of kind of ending of the last arc, started the new arc, but we're covering the bit kind of in between, back at the Leaf Village. But yeah, so let's get into some of the specifics of this volume. The main thing that we deal with early on, obviously after Naruto and Gaara say their goodbyes and we return to the village, is straight away Kakashi is going to be out of action for about a week because he used the Manga Sharingan twice very quickly right next to each other, so he's out of it basically for a while. The mission has to take place before Kakashi is healed. I think they say like in 6 days we need to go, so Kakashi still will need another day of rest before that's over. So to make their team go on it, which Tsunade explains that it has to be this team because this is personal to them. I feel that because it's personal to them, they will be the ones that will have the best chance of getting it done because they will try the hardest to make sure this mission succeeds. So Naruto and Sakura have to go on this mission. As much as Shizune thinks that Naruto shouldn't go because he's a Jinchuriki, and you're basically sending him on a mission where you're, in a way, handing him over to the enemy, but her argument is that it's either we keep him in the village forever and basically just expect an attack on the level of the Akatsuki's attack on the Sand Village and have basically everyone in danger, or else keep sending Naruto out on missions to, other places and have them never really knowing where he's going to be because he's always on a mission. So it's this just mix between like how do they handle the fact that they know there's going to be an attack coming on Naruto, but you keep him here and prepare for an attack, or maybe have it be a bit more random but him be away from the village. But yeah, you have just that explanation about why her team is best. We also get the setup that Danzo has basically already made it the case that he is going to have one of his men join the team. So we get that set up early on, and then we kind of get the explanation a little bit later about why exactly that is the case. Obviously her having to deal with the elderly advisors in the Leaf Village, and Danzo kind of wants his involvement a little bit as well. He's also seen as one of the elder spokesmen of the village, And you start to see that the whole position of Hokage is, yes, leader of the village ultimately, but they have key elderly advisors within the village that have a decent amount of sway on things as well. So the Hokage can't just do everything they want themselves. They have to sort of get an agreement of this kind of group that we have here. So we see Tsunade's issue with them start to come out, and especially with Danzo, who is very much presented in a kind of very kind of creepy way, that he runs this organization, the Foundation, which basically has this section of the Black Ops, which is kind of even worse, that they do this kind of, it's implied, they haven't fully explained it just yet, but it's definitely implied that it's part of the training of these Foundation members, that they just don't have any emotion, that they're trained in such a way where they don't have a name, they're not meant to show any emotion whatsoever, they're meant to just be focused completely on the mission, and that apparently, according to Danzo, makes them the best suited for any sort of mission. But you can see that it goes completely against the whole kind of core of what the Leaf Village is about, and that obviously is, supporting your teammates, teamwork, will of fire, and stuff like that. Without your emotions, how can you have a will of fire? So that's that. Before we get back to more of the political stuff, the first really kind of fun moment, obviously, is Naruto's return to the village. Because obviously the first time he returned, obviously at the start of this part 2 stuff, he basically met a couple of people and then immediately went out on a mission. Here he kind of returns and gets a chance to meet a lot of the other people he hadn't got a chance to see just yet. So Shikamaru again, he meets up with Shino, so he meets this team again, Team Kurenai. So we get to see Shino, we get to see Kiba and Akamaru is huge now, which kind of really impresses Naruto. And we also get to see Hinata, which is a really kind of fun moment, that it's been 3 years since she's seen him, and her crush on him is still just as kind of crazy as ever, and she almost cares about him even more now that she's kind of seen him again, and she's just really embarrassed, standing behind the wall, doesn't know what to say, and then he just appears next to her, and she faints basically off screen, and we don't really know what happened from there. A fun little moment, just showing that she still does really like Naruto in that way. But obviously the whole thing here is that we get the setup from earlier on that Shizune and Tsunade are kind of discussing things, and Naruto overhears this discussion about what he should and shouldn't do, and you really see that Tsunade is putting herself out there to defend him, that she knows that Shizune, it means well, but she's putting so many restrictions on what she would do with Naruto, that she wouldn't allow him to go out on any missions, guards assigned to him and stuff like that. And so when the elders come in and basically say, full stop, no missions for him, he's going to have experienced shinobis by him at all times to protect him and stuff like that, you really see wow, you are really not treating him like a person here. You are just treating him as a container for a monster, that you can just keep him contained just because of that. You don't actually care about Naruto the person, just that Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, doesn't get into enemy hands, and that's the way they're thinking about it. Whereas Tsunade is aware that they have to protect their Jinchuriki, but they also have to give Naruto some element of freedom, that he is a person here, and that's one of the main reasons why she chose him for the mission to help save Gaara, in that he, being a Jinchuriki, would be one of the best people suited to help on a mission involving a Jinchuriki. So very kind of big moment there. And ultimately they come to this agreement that what has to be done is, okay, Tsunade, you can choose the leader of this mission. You can choose the kind of replacement for Kakashi. But the Sasuke fill-in, the kind of new teammate of Naruto and Sakura, is going to be chosen by Danzo from his group, so the Foundation. And they're instantly like, okay, Tsunade has to choose someone who can keep an eye on this new person Danzo's chosen, but is also, skilled enough that can get this mission done. So we get the reveal of Captain Yamato from the Black Ops, and is now kind of being transferred to just being a more normal Jonin style ninja under kind of Tsunade's direct control, and he's going to be the new team captain. Really interesting reveal when he takes off his kind of Anbu mask and we get to see who he is, and then a few more little reveals about him later on. But yeah, then we get, obviously Sai's reveal comes a little bit earlier on. We get to see him in action before we, properly are introduced to who exactly he is, and that he has this scene with Danzo earlier on where he gets his name, and that his name originally isn't Sai, it's just that's his name from here on out for this mission, and this idea that he's not meant to show any emotions and that he will get this mission done, kind of spying on everyone, kind of as part of this team. And yeah, so his first act is basically to start a fight with Naruto, Shikamaru, and Choji, and he puts up a pretty good fight here using his beast mimicry techniques, because Danzo obviously sets up that he's really good with a paintbrush. So we get this reveal that what he does is he can basically, using ninjutsu, bring paintings that he makes to life and basically use them to fight. It makes for a really interesting art style in the manga. The anime does the style really well, but obviously it comes across really nicely just in the manga, seeing that different kind of art style just on those beast mimicry techniques. And yeah, and you start to get some of kind of Sai's attitude here, in that he's not really aggressive. He just kind of, everything about him seems fake. The way he's saying things, the emotion he's trying to kind of get across but not portraying, and just how kind of, in a way, rude he kind of comes across initially, just straight away calling like Naruto, "You're pretty weak, are you a boy or a girl?" and just constantly trying to needle Naruto and kind of get him all riled up. And so when we get the actual meeting of them, and that this is the team, it's going to be Yamato, Sakura, Naruto, and Sai, you can see where the problems are going to come from immediately, because at the team grouping, the team meeting, which is meant to be our kind of part 2 similar scene to when Team 7 first formed, and that like they were arguing with each other initially, we get that again, but obviously Sakura and Naruto are perfectly fine working together, but Sai is a problem straight away from the get-go, just calling Naruto like a little boy, saying that he doesn't kind of like him, and then Sakura being open to a new team member, but immediately getting the insult of but I like ugly girls like you, and just she starts to get furious with him, and it creates an interesting dynamic, because you have Naruto who's just completely against basically whoever was brought in as part of the team, unless it was one of his initial friends like Shikamaru or one of the other people. He would be against any stranger roughly being brought in as the replacement for Sasuke. But this guy just kind of takes the cake basically. Like, he's the worst possible choice in Naruto's mind, because he's just so rude, when in fact, as kind of Sakura kind of points out, he has elements of Sasuke to him with regards to the fact that he is quite rude, he's kind of a little bit confrontational, and doesn't show a lot of emotions the way he comes across, but it's in a very different way to Sasuke, but is still kind of filling that kind of basic role on the team. And yeah, it's just a very, very interesting kind of what happens here, because you start to get these kind of really impressive moments kind of as you kind of see them interact with each other, about like the next time they kind of start to interact, you see that Sai says, the last person I'd ever want to be compared to is some traitorous cockroach who abandoned his village for Orochimaru just because he wanted to become stronger. And Naruto's about to like attack Sai because of what he says here. Like, Yamato's really struggling to contain the three of them all fighting here. And it appears as if Sakura is going to be very cool in the situation, just be like, oh no, it doesn't mean anything, don't rise to the occasion. And she acts like that. She perfects the whole idea that what Sai was going for, that he's all about trying to portray one emotion with his smile and facial expressions, but actually mean something else, like the whole idea of a fake smile. Whereas Sakura perfects it here. She uses it on Sai and says, I'm sorry, please forgive Naruto. And he's just like, okay. And then she just decks him. She just full on, punch to the face, nails him. And it's a really kind of awesome moment for Sakura. Just like, don't ever say something like that again. Really getting across that like Sakura is pretty awesome, in part 2. Really knowing how to handle herself, and is composed when she needs to be, but is kind of harsh, I suppose, when she needs to be as well. So very interesting. And just this idea that they're defending him, it kind of brings up the point of like, it's one of people's complaints in general about Naruto. Like, why does Sakura and Naruto go through so much to save him when he doesn't care? When Sasuke doesn't really care? Like, why did they do so much when he just was so bad to them at various points in the series? And it's this idea that it's what Sai obviously doesn't understand at this point in time. The idea of what a true bond is, true friendship, and actually feeling things and caring about your bonds with other people. That's what Sai doesn't quite get, because he has kind of lost his emotions because of the foundation training. But what he learns obviously from them is kind of the importance of these kind of bonds, as they set up here with the idea that he has this older brother who he says is dead, and he clearly feels something but isn't aware that he's actually portraying any sort of emotion about his brother. As far as he's aware, he's just like, oh, I keep this book for some reason, I haven't finished it yet, I can't show anyone, but I don't really feel anything towards the fact that my brother died. And like, Sakura just is kind of like, wait, do you just not have any emotions? What's going on? Like, I really don't know what way to take you. Like, she's really kind of confused as she begins to interact more and more with Sai, and that, okay, he's an artist, and it kind of comes across that he's quite sensitive about some things, but he really, like, doesn't get it, kind of, like, at all. So she's really conflicted about just the two kind of different sides to him, and so she seems like she's a bit more open to kind of dealing with him going forward. And Naruto as well begins to get that way, but obviously when they kind of begin to work on their teamwork, you have the kind of Naruto and Sai teaming up to take on Yamato, and it kind of ends up not working out, and they kind of make it out that Naruto is at fault, but kind of Sai kind of pushed it too far and wasn't really working with as part of the team either. And you get basically the key thing from Naruto here, the kind of big statement of just like, no one would be willing to work with Sai the way he's acting right now. Yamato is just kind of saying like, look, you can't let his words get to you. But even Sakura is like annoyed by what he's doing. And so Naruto, you think this is the moment where he's just going to completely blow up and basically attempt to kill Sai. But instead he turns around and says, let me get the build up to this. He betrayed our village and tried to kill you, and you consider him a comrade. And Naruto just turns around and says, yes, and I would still do anything to save him, even team up with you. And this is the big statement of this volume, that Naruto hates this guy right now. He's been nothing but rude to him, hasn't really tried to work with him or be kind in any way to him. Naruto, I think at the very least, was a little bit open to Sai, but obviously the fact that they were introduced by Sai attacking him didn't really help things. But you see that this moment is kind of big because it hits Sakura, it hits Yamato, and has a little effect on Sai. And I really like Sakura's approach to this as well, in that she basically says, Naruto thinks of Sasuke as a brother. You have an older brother, so you must know what that's like. And he says, no. Remember our conversation about the picture titles? I don't have feelings. And he's just like, he's your brother, you must feel something. And you must be able to imagine even a little what it would be like to lose him. And he says, well, you see, my brother is dead. And then she just says, even more of a reason to feel something then. And he says, and what face would I make to show that I did? One like that like referencing Naruto's face. And she's just kind of like, what? Like, she doesn't get this idea that he honestly just has no idea how to portray emotions. Like, he obviously feels something, but he has such, his feelings are so like repressed and stuff like that. He doesn't know how to portray them. He always kind of is holding them back, even inadvertently. And he says, when my brother died, I didn't know what kind of expression I was supposed to be making. And Sakura, just doesn't know what way to react, and just kind of ends up kind of thinking that he's a jerk for kind of saying this. But you kind of see the kind of deeper issue there, and she just ends up agreeing with Naruto in that, I was just about to clobber you again. I warned you if you'd kept badmouthing Sasuke, I wouldn't hold back. The only reason I didn't knock you into tomorrow was because of what Naruto said, that in order to rescue Sasuke, he'd team up with even you. For once, he's being more forgiving than I am, and if you can help us get our teammate back, I can't afford to hurt you. And that's basically where we end the volume, just transitioning into the fact that the informant who Sasori was dealing with is Kabuto. So this idea that Sasori's special puppetry jutsu that he can control people with was used on Kabuto, and that's the connection that Sasori had to Orochimaru. And now they're going in as basically Yamato's going to transform himself into Sasori, go and deal with Kabuto, and then they're going to do an ambush when the time comes and get their hands on Kabuto. And it ends up being this kind of thing where, like, this is better than they could have ever hoped for in certain ways. They know Kabuto is directly linked with Orochimaru. Like, he works for Orochimaru, like his right-hand man, basically. So the only issue is that Kabuto is very tricky, of course. It's going to be tough to capture him because he is very skilled himself. So it sets up some really interesting ideas of a fight. But then they even go further than that by basically saying that, like, on the other side of the bridge, hiding in the trees, just like Naruto and Sakura are hiding in the trees with Sai, Orochimaru is hiding on the other side, so he's right there on the scene as well, and you're just kind of wondering what's going on here. They obviously had this thing planned. So has Orochimaru figured out what Sasori was doing, or does he know that Sasori is dead already and is doing something else? It's really interesting, kind of where they're going here. Last little bit I wanted to say is just with Yamato, we did get the reveal that he can use wood style jutsu, which they kind of talk about. It's like, whoa, that is kind of like exclusive to the first Hokage. What's going on here? So there's still a setup about, like, okay, this isn't just some random Jonin, Onbu Black Ops member. This guy's pretty important, given that he has this technique, wood style, which we've only ever seen the fourth Hokage use. And he himself as a character is quite fun in that he tries to basically be calm with them and be like, okay, I'll try and do the same kind of teaching method as kind of Kakashi, be a bit lax and let things kind of flow, but ends up kind of having to be a bit more kind of focused and authoritative over them, and that, like, he ends up kind of trapping them all in kind of wood prisons until they calm down. And we get the start of the key meme of one of the key memes of Naruto, Yamato's face, if I can find it. Yes, here we go. Yamato's creepy face on the bottom of that page. It's just, it's really good to get across that he really freaks everyone out. Mainly Naruto is freaked out by it, but still, pretty good stuff. So, yeah, good volume. Don't think the best volume overall, in that it was kind of one of those more transitional volumes, and that, like, every page isn't super important, but they get across an overall kind of idea of just the issues around, like, soon enough, there's going to be restrictions on what Naruto can and can't do, and what happens with this mission in regards to, like, him interacting with Orochimaru and potentially other Akatsuki members. How that goes will also impact on it as well, and Tsunade is putting a lot of faith in Naruto to kind of prove her right, that she's right to give him a little bit of freedom. And it's just this idea that going forward we have this kind of new team working together to get information about Sasuke, but one of those members of the team doesn't believe in Sasuke, and they're having issues with him. But there's still the hint with Sai that there'll be some sort of a development that can Naruto, who has this effect on people of kind of bringing these things out of them, can he have that effect on Sai in the same way that he has on so many other people? But yeah, that's been the volume review for volume 32. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this volume, your thoughts on what I've said in the review here. But other than that, I'm just going to end by saying links to my Twitter, my Tumblr, to follow me on social media are in the description. And then if you want to help support my channel so I can make more videos, better videos, links to my Patreon campaign page, as well as a PayPal donation link, are in the description below if you want to help support the channel. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.